Hello everyone, it's Lisa from Epic Yarn Gems, and today I am going to be showing you how to make a Catherine wheel pattern. This pattern has a 4-row repeat, and you'll see that at the end. To start off, we are going to use a starting chain of multiples of 10 plus 7. Also, if you want, you can start with a row of single crochets. Here I'm just going to start directly into the chain. So for the first row, we're going to go the second chain from the hook. And then in each of the next 2 stitches, we're going to do a single crochet. Here is where the repeat for this row comes in. We're going to skip 3, and in that next chain, we are going to do 7 double crochets. And you're going to put all of those double crochets directly in the exact same stitch. After we complete those 7 double crochets, we're going to skip 3 stitches. Make sure you count that one close to the one that we did all those double crochets in. And then we're going to do single crochets in the next 3 stitches. And this is what is going to make that half circle lay flat, is though by skipping those chains. So that is the repeat that we are going to continue all the way across. So we're going to skip 3 stitches, and then we are going to put 7 double crochets in the same stitch. After we complete that, we are going to skip 3 stitches and finish with 3 single crochets in the next 3 stitches. So 1 single crochet in each of those stitches. When you have 4 stitches remaining, what you are going to do is you're going to skip 3 stitches, and then in that very last stitch you're going to do 4 double crochets. This is going to make the ending for this row, but it's also kind of like a quarter of a half circle. So that is going to finish off row 1. Going on to row 2, I've changed my color here. You don't have to, but I have, just so that you can see the differentiation. And we're going to start this row off with a chain 1. From that chain 1, we are going to do single crochets in the next 2 stitches. We are going to go directly into, you can see that red stitch there. We're going to go into that first red stitch with a single crochet. Then we're going to do that with the next stitch. I like to lay down my ends as I'm doing the next row because I hate weaving in ends. You don't have to do this, but this is just something that I do. Now we're going to start the repeat pattern for this row. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to chain 3. And then in the next stitch, we're going to do 7 double crochets together. So to do this, we are going to start the half double crochet by yarning over and going under the V's, yarning over and pulling up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2. You're going to stop there. Then you're going to go into the next stitch and start the double crochet, but don't finish it. Now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to do that in the next stitch, not finishing those double crochets, so just the yarn over, going under the V, yarn over, and pulling up or pulling through the first 2 loops. As you can see, we're gathering the stitches on our hook. So once we get to the 7 double crochets, you will have a total of 8 loops on your hook. You have 8 because you had the starting double crochet, and then you just gathered 7 more. So you want to make sure that you have a total of 8. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all those loops on the hook. So when you're doing your double crochets, you're going to want to have them a little loose so that you're able to pull that loop all the way through all of them. Then you're going to chain one, and that's kind of to finish off that circle. And you're going to chain two more. So that's a total of 3 chains. You can also do another method, and this is something that I saw, I believe her name is Donna Wolf from Nastasia's Crochet, and it makes it so that there's not a big gap when you are doing your circles. So you don't have to do that, but you can. And so this is what that gap would look like. But here, let's take a look at her method and how it makes it lay a little bit flatter, sorry. So we're going to go back to after that first chain, and then we're going to do slip stitches down the side of that last double crochet. You can go into that last stitch, or you can just do it in the base, whatever works for you to get that to lay flat. So you can either do that chain 3, or you can do the chain 1 with the 2 slip stitches. After that, you are going to do single crochets in the next 3 stitches, and that's the end of the repeat. So let's take a look at this again, and you're seeing that you have the start of that, and you're going to start with the chain 3 on this side, and then you're going to do that 7 double crochets together. When you have completed all of those, you'll have a total of 8 loops on your hook, and once you have the 8 loops on the hook, you are going to yarn over, and you are going to pull that loop all the way through those 8 loops that you collected on your hook. Again, having them a little loose makes it easier when you're pulling all the way through. After that, you're going to do either that chain 3 or that chain 1 slip stitch 2, whatever works for you. I did see the gap that she was talking about, so I think the slip stitch pulls that together nicely, and you don't have that big of a gap, but I think either looks nice. So as you finish up, when you have 4 stitches left, you're going to end the row. And by end, I always say you have to end sometime, so you have to come up with something to end in a nice, neat pattern. So now we have 4 left, and we're going to chain 3. And we're going to finish off with 4 double crochets together. And this is the exact same method that you did with your 7 double crochets together. And you will have a total of 5 loops on your hook when you have completed those 4 double crochets together. And you are just going to do a yarn over and pull through all 5. So moving on to row 3, you're going to start this with a chain 3. And by doing that chain 3, you're finishing off that circle with one of those chains, and then the chain 2. Now we're going to look for the little eye of that circle, and we're going to put 3 double crochets directly into that little eyelet opening. After we do that, we're going to go into the repeat pattern of row 3. And to do this, you are going to skip the chain 3, and you are going to do single crochets in the top of those single crochets from the previous row. Now we're moving on to where the little eyelet is of the circle, and we are going to put 7 double crochets in that eyelet. And what this is doing is it's finishing off that nice round circle. And you're just going to continue that repeat pattern all the way across. And once you have finished and you have 5 stitches left in your row, you are going to do a finishing off pattern here. And like I said, this is only for the end of the row because you have to end somehow. Typically, a pattern would show you or tell you how they want you to end a row. But for this swatch, we're just going to just create a very general ending. But like I said, here we are finishing off that circle, and look how nice and round that is. There is a little opening, but you know, there is openings in crochet. So here we are on those last 5 stitches. We're going to skip 3 of them, and then we're just going to do single crochets in the last 2. Now I'm going to switch my color again. Like I said, you don't have to do that, but for row 4 I did switch the color and I did a chain 3. And now I'm going to do 3 double crochets together. When you're doing 3, you'll have a total of 4 loops on your hook. And you can see here that we have the start of this row. So we're going to do a single crochet to close off that circle. That's actually where that eye is going to be. And here's where you can do that additional chain 2, so a total of chain 3, or you can do that slip stitch down the side to bring it closed a little better. Then in the next 3 stitches, you're going to put single crochets into each of those stitches. Then you're going to do a chain 3. After your chain 3, you're going to go into the stitch right next to it, and you're going to do 7 double crochets together. And this is your repeat pattern for row 4. You're going to do this all the way across, and you can really start to see these circles are really starting to form. And then in between them, where those 3 single crochets are, it's making like a little flat line, so you can see the circles are more defined. So like I have said before, when you're doing those 7 double crochets together, just make sure that you have loose tension so you can get that pulled through nice and easy. So like I said, that was the repeat pattern. Now on this row, when we have 2 stitches remaining, we are going to do a different finish for this row. And the finish for this row is a chain 1, slip stitch down the side of 2, and then you're just going to do 2 single crochets in the last 2 stitches. And here we are at row 5. We're going to start with a chain 1, turn our work, and in the first stitch we're going to do a single crochet, do a second single crochet in the next stitch, and then we are going to do the repeat pattern. This repeat pattern is skipping 3 stitches or chains, whichever you may have, and we're going to go into that eye. You can see right there that little eye in the center of the circle, and we are going to do 7 double crochets into that center eye. After we have completed that, we're going to skip 3 again. And once we get past those 3 that we are going to skip, we're going to put single crochets in each of the next 3 stitches, and these will be right on top of the single crochets from the previous row. So that's making that nice little flat line. So there's the 3 chains that you're going to skip, and here's the start of those single crochets. And that is the repeat pattern all the way across. Now when you get to the last 4 stitches, we are going to have our finish for this row, and that is the end of the repeat rows. And here we are at the last 4. We are going to skip 3, and we're going to go into that little eyelet of that last quarter of a half circle. This one made a little tight, but we are going right into that eyelet. And what you're going to do is you're going to put 4 double crochets into that. I'm going to finish that here, but you would just repeat rows 2 through row 5 as you make this pattern. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Here is just a quick little view of what this looks like, the front and back, and you can see it makes really great circles, and those little flat lines between is what really defines the circle. Again, I appreciate you stopping by. As always, peace, love, and happiness to you all, and take care.